Let's go to La Crosse, Wisconsin, where Mark joins us. Mark, how can we help?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So the question, before my wife and I got married, it'll be 13 years in October.
Congrats.
We took the financial peace. Oh, thank you. We had a choice between financial peace or marriage classes. And I said financial peace. She said marriage classes. We did both. Anyhow, I recently lost my job in July, and this past October I got a different job, and I've been listening to you guys on podcasts. Anyhow, the whole point of the question is, since we were married, we have had separate checking and savings account, and then a joint savings for tax refunds and whatnot. My question for you guys, I recently listened to your podcast yesterday and, talking about combining everything. And I asked her about it, and she really wasn't on board with it because we've been doing it for so long and it's not really broken. So she's like, why do we need to fix anything if it's not broken? So my question for you, just keep doing things the way we have been. There hasn't been any real financial issues.
Yeah.
Our
So
house is paid for. Pretty much we're almost debt free. So
that's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, you called.
Thank
Rachel
you.
can help you with this, but I'm just curious before she dives in here. Why you called asking if it's okay, which tells me you may or may not think it is okay, or one of you thinks it's okay and one of you doesn't. Am I right or am I wrong?
I think it's relatively okay, but listening to you guys and previous podcast, you guys are like really saying that if marriage is working well, it's the best idea to do it.
I got it. So you're kind of wondering. All right, tell him, Rachel.
Yeah, in that segment, that was with John Deloney and myself. Yeah, we talked about a study that we found from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, and it talked about how they did a study that, when couples pool their money together, they actually experience greater relational satisfaction or are less likely to break up. Because here's the deal, Mark. Now, could the dollars and cents work with how you're doing it? Sure. Absolutely. It could literally, like you said, nothing's been broken. It could work.
Yeah.
But what I would argue is that it could be so much better because the things that you guys don't even know are there, and or the things that are not even being talked about because you are living in these separate checking accounts, that's the stuff that you miss out on. Because there is this level of kind of independence. I'm doing my thing over there, you're doing yours. But when you throw everything together, it's like it's a clash and a explosion in a good way that makes you kind of rethink things in a sense that, like, man, she's going to see that purchase, or he's going to know that I went there. And not that you're intentionally trying to hide anything, but there's just this level of openness that's there when you have your money together. So my thing would be, it may be working okay, but how much better could it be? Because it's going to force conversations that you're not forced to have right now. And again, not even just money conversations. Like Winston and I, we go through our week to talk about, like, okay, so what does our evenings look like? Because we got to figure out, are we picking up Chick-fil-A after the girls' gymnastics, or am I cooking? Like, what's happening? And you end up talking about the out to eat budget. You end up talking about what's going on in life and calendars. And man, this feels really busy right now. I know I'm exhausted. I know I've missed seeing you. Like, you end up in all these other conversations that combining your accounts brings. So it's not just the tactical side of money that you benefit from, but it's the relational side. Yeah. So that's what I would push you guys on. Do you feel a nudge, Mark, to do it differently? I know you heard us talk about it on the podcast, but do you think it would bring like a level of richness that's not there right now?
I feel like we communicate really well now. The only debt we have is truck payment, and we just talk about it. So we want to knock it out quick, and she's putting money each check, and then it comes directly out of my checking account, and we're just trying to. We communicate well to start with, but like you said, I get to hold each other accountable. For example, our oldest daughter's in softball, so she went and got the batting helmet, then I went and got the bag and the fielding mask. So we're pretty open with each other about everything, but I can see your point about.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
holding each other accountable, you know?
So you feel like you are holding each other accountable?
I think we just trust each other.
Yeah, let me tell you the flip side of this, because we get this call a lot on the Ramsey Show. Couples with separate accounts, Rachel, good people, well-meaning people. And when you have separate accounts and you're not really accountable, so you don't know what he has, she has, whatever. And we get the call, we had separate accounts, and my spouse ran up tens and tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, and I just found out about it. That temptation could hit anybody. I mean, nobody's above that.
Yes.
So there's no judgment here. I'm just saying that's the reality of this when we have separate accounts, and then one person goes, well, I kind of get to do whatever I want to do in this.
Yeah.
And then maybe they get themselves in a hole.
Yeah.
We hear about gambling problems. We hear about spending problems. We got a call just last week, separate accounts. And the wife found out that the husband had racked up nearly $100,000 in credit card over legal fees for custody for a child from a previous marriage. She just found out about it.
Yeah.
This is bone-crushing kind of stuff.
And I would say, too, and I would be curious your thoughts on this, Ken, because this is how passionate I feel about it, Mark, is that you can go down like that road. What Ken just described for sure happens, 100%. But what even made me like, kind of like cringe is that their daughter plays softball and she goes and buys part of the equipment and he goes and buys the other part. Do you know what I'm saying, Mark? Like there's just this level of a division that you're like, no, we're all supposed to go and buy the stuff, and it comes out and it's not a big deal. It's the dividing roommate
it's weird
feeling.
So like when,
and I'm not trying to say you're weird, Mark. I want you to hear a lot of grace in this, okay? Because I get that it's working. And it's almost the same mindset when people use credit cards. Like, but I pay it off every month, but I pay it off every month, but you have no idea how much more you're spending when you don't have the emotions attached to your checking account. You don't even know what conversations you're missing out on, Mark, and the things that are dividing y'all because you haven't even done it, because you haven't combined it yet.
Rachel, I think you make an incredible relationship point. And that is that we are joint, we are a team, we're not roommates. I could think of example after example, but I'll tell you an example that you made me think of. So we have a daughter, Josie, who's 13, and she and her little friend just decided they wanted to start a bracelet business, these beads.
Yeah.
And I came home the other night, and one of the first things in the door, Stacy said, hey, I got to let you know, Josie came to me today. She's all excited about starting this little business. So I told her we would invest, we would buy the first supplies, helped her with pricing, all that stuff. So this was a couple's moment where she was just proud to say, this is Josie's idea. I went out and it was $40 for all the things.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't a accountability issue, but it was this idea that it could have been shin guards.
Yes.
Cleats.
Right.
You name it. But it was like we had a fun little conversation. It was like, that's awesome.
Yes.
And that's
totally.
a joint account. We tell each other, we can see what we spend.
Yeah.
You don't even have to hold someone accountable when you're just open.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. The accountability thing, that term, I feel like
it does feel weird to people.
It's a little overused too, of like, I'm going to keep you accountable, where it's like, no, I'm actually going to just know what's going on, and we're like married.
I can't spend something without her knowing.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
Right.
So that is built in, but I don't feel like, ugh.
Yes, totally. So yeah, it's a real thing. Again, study after study. Another one, that one that we just talked about that came out last week. That you just have a greater level of satisfaction because you share everything. And John Deloney made the point, and we laugh about it because I'm like, you share your genetics in a child that's running around in front of you. So like, if you can share your bed, if you can share your refrigerator, you share everything.
Share everything. And
the money piece, it may not feel like a big deal because like you feel like it's on the track and it's working. But I'm going to push y'all, Mark. I mean, I would, and I would see how your relationship changes, because your marriage changes when you see yourself 1,000% as one.
Totally agree. She's preaching, and she's right.